In the bustling world of business, you're either moving forward or falling behind. Welcome to For Action Takers Only, the podcast and Facebook group where dreams become reality. We're here to fuel your ambition, sharpen your skills, and inspire your entrepreneurial spirit. Dive into the sea of opportunities with our insightful discussions, expert advice, and powerful success stories. From investment strategies to business building tips, we've got it all. Are you ready to take your first step towards your dream life? Join us on this exciting journey, unleash your potential, and watch as your dreams transform into your reality. Remember, inaction is the enemy of progress. So get on the action train with For Action Takers Only. Because the time to act is now and the place to start is here. For those who dare to dream and have the courage to act, the world is their oyster. For Action Takers Only, where dreams meet action. Tune in, take action, and transform your life. Your future self will thank you.
And welcome to For Action Takers Only. This is a podcast for serial entrepreneurs and real estate investors that are looking to up their game. We're here, we're all newbies. Most of us are newbies here. I'm a newbie. I've been doing this for about a year. So if you like what you see, join and subscribe. And I always mess this intro up, so I'm not too worried about it though. But it's free right now, so free to subscribe, free to watch. Check it out. Today I got Nathaniel Hovsepian. I hope I said that, or Hovsepian. I hope I say that right. He'll correct me when I bring him in here. But he's a real estate investor, an entrepreneur, and a leader in the Subto community. And I've been seeing his content coming out, and he's been very active. So I wanted to get him in. Let's bring him on in. What's going on here, Mike? There we go.
Aha. It wasn't me. I didn't do anything.
No, I just kept coming up with a pop-up in front of the button. That was weird.
Yeah. I appreciate being here, man. I like the, we're all newbies. I think that that's a great mindset to be in, that, if you're treating yourself as a newbie, you're always going to be looking to grow and learn. Well, I guess you're not always.
I'm always looking to grow and learn.
Yeah. And I think that's a great place to be. No matter where you are at in your journey, there's always something to learn. There's always a new thing that you can be discovering and kind of iterating. So I know that, our mentor, one of our mentors, Pace, is constantly doing that. He's always looking for new places that he can learn and grow, and new people that he can connect with and learn from. And so,
right.
If he's doing it, why the heck wouldn't we be doing it?
Right. So did I say your last name right?
No, yeah.
I butchered it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I should do a better job of pronouncing it for you ahead of time. Hovsepian. It's
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
I really butchered it.
It was well. When you've had the last name as long as I have, I've heard much worse. So you did
I
just
bet you.
fine. Yeah.
So what kind of name? Where's that derived from?
It's an Armenian last name.
Okay.
Yeah. So my grandparents came over here from Armenia. Actually, Turkey and Armenia. But we've been two generations here now. I say three because I have two little ones now, so third generation of Hovsepians are here.
All right.
Yeah.
That's how old are they? Real
They
quick.
are 3.5 and 2, almost 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, coming up, and then we have a third in October as well. So we're gonna have 3 under 4 for about 4 months here.
Congrats, and you got your hands full.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You're glutton for punishment, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. That's the way it is.
All right.
We're always talking about being uncomfortable and getting uncomfortable, and I think it's going to be pretty uncomfortable for a little bit. But
It's gonna, I had one, but and that was a challenge. So, he's got a half brother, but I didn't raise him. But I'm a single parent of one. So, and that's been a challenge. So, yeah. So, how did you initially get interested in real estate? What got you started in this?
Yeah, so I grew up in Southern California. I joined the Marine Corps in 2003 and did a tour there, 4 years. Got out of the Marine Corps. I was a tank mechanic in the Marine Corps, and I went to a mechanic school following that, and then ended up back in Southern California. In 2012, I found myself in engineering school and had bought a condo in Garden Grove. This is a city in Orange County, California. And while I was in school, I met my wife, now girlfriend at the time, Brittany, and she had moved into the condo with me in Garden Grove about a year before we graduated, and we both knew we weren't staying in California. So as soon as we graduated, we sold this thing. We moved to Oklahoma, we sold the condo, and made a chunk of money. The thing had appreciated pretty well. And I had always kind of had real estate in the back of my mind. My dad, when I was younger, like in high school age, was like, we were playing Monopoly of all things, and he was like, "You're good at Monopoly. You should do something in real estate." Like, oh yeah, because that's super transferable, right? But
Right?
yeah, when this condo sold and we got this influx of cash, it's like, oh, maybe real estate is something, right? And so we were looking for a primary residence when we moved to Oklahoma, and we found this 3-bedroom, two bathroom house. It was 1,500 square feet, like a pretty starter single family home. But what really had sold us on it was on 7 acres. It was kind of out in the woods. It had a pond, it had a stream, and it was just this beautiful house. And we were like, oh, this is the house that we want to start, like, kind of building our family in, right? We're going to get married here. Turns out it wasn't the house that we were going to do that in, because about 2 weeks before we closed on the thing, Brittany got a job like an hour and a half away. A really good job. Yeah, mechanical engineering job. And so it was like, okay, now what? We're closing on this thing. We're still going to buy the house. And so we pivoted and made it an investment property. I did a bunch of work on it, like from ceiling to floors, redid the inside of this house, did a bunch of yard, landscaping and things like that, and turned it into a rental property. And it's one of the ones that we regret selling, as a matter of fact. But
Oh, really?
yeah, we held it for 3 years, I think. And then when we moved to South Carolina, once the tenant that was in there moved out, it was just, I didn't want to manage it. I didn't really understand that you can hire somebody to manage the property at the time for you. And one of those things, they say you don't know what you don't know. I didn't know it at the time, and we were just like, let's sell it. We'll get the cash out of it. We were looking to start investing here locally to us in the Augusta, Georgia, and Aiken, South Carolina area.
Okay.
And so we did. We essentially took the cash out. But long story short, that's how we got started.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
you did all this even before, joining Subto.
Oh yeah, so that was in 2016. It was kind of trailing the end of 2016, heading into 2017 when I bought it and kind of finished working on it and got it rented out. I didn't join Subto till 2022. So in that time, I had started going direct to seller with the intent of buying more houses. I wanted to, we got into real estate to acquire rentals, acquire properties, and grow a portfolio. And when I started going direct to seller, that was the intent: is talk to sellers, so I don't have to, I don't have the middleman of a real estate agent, and I can just be in direct contact with the person who's trying to sell the house. I can buy a house, I can rent it out.
Okay.
End up when you're going to direct to seller and you don't really have a clear focus and goal, like I didn't have I didn't really know exactly what properties to go after, where, like, locations and stuff. I got a bunch of properties that I didn't want to buy. And
Okay.
so, like, okay, well, I did all this work to talk, to find a seller, talk to the seller, negotiate, what do I do now? Oh, wholesale. Okay, you can wholesale. That's a thing. So you can make money in real estate doing that. So once you kind of put that wholesaler hat on, it can be tough to get rid of it. At least it was for me. So it took me 7 years of wholesaling and flipping houses to finally come to, like, we gotta go back to why we started, and that's where we're at now.
To buy and hold.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and your partner, your wife, I guess, are in on this together. Then y'all set the goals together. Huh?
Yep.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's
It
awesome.
has its challenges.
I bet. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't see eye to eye. No, I don't. Yeah, I can see that.
It's more, the challenges are more of we work really well as business partners, right? And the challenges are taking that hat off and being able to come back together as a couple outside of the business,
Hmm.
right? Because we're so focused on our business goals and I should say and our child goals too, right? Raising the children. It is tough for us to sometimes separate those and go, okay, husband and wife need time too.
Right.
Yeah.
So does that make the relationship difficult at times?
It just is something that we need to and do focus on. It's like, all right, now it's
Yeah.
like, even if it's 15 minutes a day, this is 15 minutes where we're not talking about business anymore.
Right. Well, Pace says that's very important for relationships. I don't know. I'm not married, so never have been. I'm a single parent, and
Yeah.
that's and I chose while raising him that I wasn't even going to date. So I don't date. I don't do any of that. I just work.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice that you like compartmentalize it, right? And that's something that we need. I mean, we're working on every day or every week.
Right.
It's like, okay, business, parent, husband, wife.
Right.
Yeah.
That must be rough.
It can be, yeah. I mean, it's like 99% of the day is business and kids. You know? So,
Right.
yeah.
So joined Subto in 2022. What brought you to? How did you run across Subto? What made you want to do that? Since you're already doing this stuff anyway.
Yeah, I had been in a couple other mentorships already, a couple that had done, that were good, and a couple that were not good.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the middle of 2021 I discovered Pace and Subto, and at the same time I had built this relationship with this other person who I had been in a different mentorship with, and he was doing his own coaching. And I was like, I know this guy over here. I don't really know Pace, right? And I guess it's like the whole Subto seemed, it didn't, I don't want to say scammy, but almost too good to be true. And so I ended up choosing this other person, like a known entity, so to speak, and pretty immediately regretted it. It just wasn't, it wasn't a mentorship like I was looking for. It was more just like, hey, go to this Kajabi, where I have some training videos, and I'll meet once a week if you need me. If you don't need me, I'm not going to be here, kind of a thing. And so I did 6 months in that, and I learned some things, right? I learned some systems and processes type things that did kind of improve where I was at. But ultimately, I came back to Subto. Thankfully, I had the means and the desire to join another program. And it's been, I wouldn't be where we're at without it. I wouldn't have met the people that I've met and are in
Right.
my inner circle. But to more answer the question, the real reason, the main reason I joined Subto was to get better on the phone, to get
Okay.
better as a closer. When I was wholesaling, I was feeling that I was leaving deals on the table by not, knowing what I didn't know, essentially, and being
Right.
better at it. So
I know that feeling. Yeah.
yeah, I like, when I joined Subto, that was my intent, is to get better on the phone and get better as a closer. And I was in the daily dials. I don't know if you've talked about that on the show before, but
Oh yeah.
daily dials, they do. When I joined, it was 4 hours. They did a East Coast and
Sure.
did a West Coast, 2 hours each, 2 hours each, and I
Yeah,
was
they
in
were.
every single one for the
I
first
sat in
like
them.
2 months.
Yeah, I sat in them quite a bit
Yeah.
often too. I didn't get to participate so much because I was usually watching them from work.
Mm.
So, and then work things changed, and I had to drop out. So I haven't been able to do those in a while, and it's kind of
Yeah.
disappointing because they do help quite a bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So can you? How did you find before you got into Sub Two? Then how were you finding your deals? And were you the one doing all the calls? You did all the
Yep.
cold calling and everything?
I did all of it. Yeah. I never really cold called. I did every other marketing avenue that you could do, and it's sad. I mean, it's funny, I guess, more than it is sad that I had success with everyone, and
Uh-huh.
I just didn't have the success that I thought I could have, and so I moved on. So I did direct mail, I did door knocking, I went and hung flyers on doors, I did SEO, PPC, like Facebook ads, Google, ads, and then right before I joined Subto, I started with a cold caller. a VA that did some cold calling, and then ultimately did cold calling and texting as well after I had joined Subto and learned about that. So I did it all. We had success. I was wearing all the hats though, and so if I could go back and tell myself one thing, it's like bring some people on to take some of that stuff off your plate. I did learn it once I finally got into Subto. It was like, oh, you're good on the phones, and but you're not so good at the dispo side. So I would just JV with people for dispo. Once I figured, like, oh, that's a thing. Oh, okay, sweet. I can just give this contract to somebody that I trust to get the deal done. Like, yeah, let's do that. Because for me, every time that I got a deal, the dispo became the priority now. And so the pipeline of acquisitions would start to dry up, right? Because it would take me 2, 5, whatever days to find a buyer for something. It's like, well, when the dispo side is your focus, the acquisitions isn't happening.
Exactly.
So yeah, when I learned that, it was just like, oh, okay. As soon as I got an agreement, here you go, buddy. You dispo it for me, so I can go back to getting another agreement.
Okay, so you have somebody now that does all that for you.
Well, I did. I'm not wholesaling anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. And it wasn't, they weren't part of my team. They were just people that I had here locally that I knew were dispoing deals. And so I just said, I created a relationship with a couple of them that each one had their own little niche, so to speak.
Okay.
So I okay, if it's this type of deal, it goes to you. If it's this type of deal, it goes to you.
Okay. So how many properties you have now?
We have 8 properties that we hold, and we have 2 notes that we hold.
Okay, so you're a note holder too.
Yeah, we did. Well, yeah, we sold a couple properties on a wrap, and we're actually going through one more right now. So we'll hopefully within the next month or so have another note that we hold as well.
Ever thought about buying notes?
We haven't. We're like really, there's a benefit to the notes, but right now we're focusing on acquiring the actual assets, so we get all the other benefits as well. And we're, in the acquisition of these assets, I guess you could do it with note holding, but we're creating relationships and partnerships with our friends and people that we know and trust to go buy these assets together. So we're bringing in equity partners, and I guess you could do that with notes, but the big benefit that we are selling our partners is that, you're owning the real estate right alongside with us, and we're going to operate it, and you're just going to be an equity partner, and you're going to get to see the process and all that. And so with the note, you don't get those benefits as much.
It's just the paper.
Right.
So tell us about like your first deal.
Oh man, yeah. So the first like deal was that one that we did in Oklahoma. My first real wholesale deal probably was, it was also in Oklahoma. It was a deal that I bought too high and ended up not making any money on, but learned a bunch of things along the way.
All right.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, and I was helping the seller out a little bit more than I probably should have been, not valuing my time and my experience, which was little at the moment. So sometimes when you're doing your first deals, and this is something that I tell people when I'm helping, I do a lot of helping people, and I like coaching. I don't pay for it, but is sometimes that we all want to get 15 grand on our assignment fees, but sometimes just taking $500, $1,000, and learning a bunch of things along the way is super valuable. And you do that by being action takers, taking action, doing the thing, and then squatting up with somebody that's going to bring the experience and the know-how and the systems and the processes. And you look at this like, oh, well, they're making all this money, and I'm the one that like went and found the contract. Yeah, but they're the one that's going to get the thing to the closing table. Right. And so if you partner up with somebody who's worth their weight and also is willing to give you a peek behind the curtain, that's more valuable, because now you're getting the experience and the knowledge and the know-how to go out and make those 10 grand assignment fees for yourself. Right. And so it's like, be willing and comfortable accepting less and taking less on those first ones, because that's what sets you up to go do deals, bigger and better deals in the future. And so like, yeah, I look back at that one, I'm like, man, you screwed up this and this and this and this, but what are all the things that you learned from that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
whole lot. You just listed a whole thing. I screwed up this and this, this. That's your whole list. This is what I
Yep.
learned not to do next time. So yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. To do
you're right. It
better,
is
I could do.
invaluable. It's just when you're in the moment of the screw up, you're like, and then having to deal with the financials
Yep.
but it doesn't kill you, right? You got
Right.
through it. See, I don't know why it crippled me. The fear kept me out of real estate for a long time. Fear of it. Just I didn't even buy my own house.
Okay.
I've never bought my own house, and my first wholesale deal was the first house I've ever bought and sold. In a couple days.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, wow, that was flabbergasting. I was like, so. All right. So what's the goal? How many properties are you looking to get this year, you and your wife?
Oh, yeah. So we don't really have a number of properties right now because we're acquiring different. Well, the properties that we're acquiring, we're holding different strategies. So from long-term to short-term rentals, and they all kind of vary the income based on that. But our goal right now is to get to 50K net revenue
Okay.
from those assets. So like, if you would have asked me that a month and a half ago, I would have said 50 properties because that's where we were kind of like, okay, each on average, we're bringing in after our equity partners and all those things are paid, we're bringing in about $1,000 per property. But right now, we're also looking, that was before we were like, oh no, we should be adding some long-term rental stuff as well. Buying some stuff for equity plays and not having as much cash flow. So because we're kind of diversifying the portfolio a little bit, we're focused on the 50K net.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you doing any since you're focused on the 50K, are you just doing long-term and mid-term rentals? Are you doing like Airbnb, pad splits or anything?
So we're doing the big ones we're doing right now are co-living. So that's what we're seeing pencil out the most for us and our equity partners.
Okay.
When we're looking at we're being very, very picky with the midterm and short-term rentals because we just don't want to get ourselves and our partners into a position where we have to fall back on a break-even scenario, which when we're buying creative deals for these other hold strategies, the first step that we're looking at is will it break even as a long-term rental? So just in case like an oh crap scenario happens, we can at least come back and hold this property until it appreciates, until rent goes up and things like that. So with the midterms, we're very specific. Like, is this next to a place where people are going to be coming in and staying for longer stays, right? Is it a destination where not vagabond is not the right word, but people, in the virtual age that we live in now, there are a lot of people that just go travel and
The
stay in a
digital
city
nomads.
Nomad, there you go. Digital, yeah, yeah. I don't know, vagabond kid. And then like with the short terms, we're not looking for just a house in Atlanta, for example, where people do come and travel to Atlanta and stay for a few days for business and things like that. We're looking for more true like vacation destinations. Think, Orlando, where people are coming for the Miami, people are coming to really vacation here and have an experience. We want to go, we want short-term rentals where we would want to go, lakes, mountains, places like that, where it's like, okay, we're going to this mountain, we're going to have a ski trip, or we're going to have go do mountain biking and hiking and things like that, and we're going to create a house around that experience. And so that's why we're very picky about the short-term rentals. And then with long-term rentals, we have a select couple of markets. That's a little bit more of a Brittany question, but look here locally for sure: Augusta, Georgia, Aiken, South Carolina. I think we've picked out a few in Tennessee and a few in Alabama, cities wise, to kind of focus on like these are good long-term rental markets for us as well.
Okay. So how are you seeing with long terms, like here in Texas, long-term rentals and midterms are really not making money anymore. They're not cash flowing like they used to because of insurance and taxes. Are you having the same problem there?
Yeah, in the couple markets that we're at, and that's why we've stayed away from some of those. Like, yes, Texas taxes are crazy. Florida property taxes and insurance is really crazy. So it's just tough to make the numbers work there. So that's why we've picked a couple places that we have. I think Ohio is probably on the short list as well of places that we want to start looking at as for long terms. But I love the Augusta, Georgia market. I love the South Carolina. We're right in between Aiken and Augusta. We're right on the border of South Carolina and Georgia. Those are the two like mid-sized cities. I don't know why I quoted that, but mid-sized cities, kind of, yeah, spaced out between us. But yeah, you know, we're we're seeing very, very few long-term rentals that make sense from a cash flow standpoint. Yeah.
Right. So have you had to contact Pace to sell off any yet? The ones that aren't cash flowing?
No, yeah, because we're direct to wholesaler at this point. We're not doing any marketing from seller or to sellers or to agents. I still get some. We have a local website that gets about, I don't know, a lead and a half a month that, so I'll still talk to a seller every now and then. I do have agents that know me here locally that'll reach out, hey, I got this property. But no, I don't reach out to Pace except just to say thanks a lot. I'll send him like a gratitude, hey, thanks, brother, or like, hey, this is where I'm at, text, maybe once a month or something like that. But no, what is it? Sell deal to Pace or deal?
Right. Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I do recommend people do that because I look at a lot of deals and it's like, man, this thing is not a deal for anybody I know except for him. Yeah.
Right. He can make it work somehow.
Yeah.
So I just lost my train of thought. Oh, I was going to say you had mentioned what your wife does this, and so how do you split up your responsibilities in the business? What's your role in the business, and what's your wife's role in the business?
Yeah. My role is really like this kind of stuff is just like going out and talking about what we're doing and generating as many opportunities for the business as we can, as well as capital raising. So going out and meeting people that want to be partners in what we're doing and bring in the opportunities that we're bringing in. Her role is really the operations side of things, and she's kind of in direct contact every single day with our operations manager, and then they're like constantly talking and going, hey, look at this deal, because our operations manager Joanna is looking at every single lead that comes in from wholesalers, and she underwrites them and she goes, okay, here's like, Brittany, here's one, let's look at this together, and they come together and go, okay, take the next step. So as far as the roles go, I like to say CEO, COO, and really she's like COO, CFO.
Okay.
Yeah. She wears all the other hats.
All right. So do you? The other thing I was good. The one I forgot was you have a network of You said you go direct to wholesalers, so you just have a network of wholesalers. Once you get a deal, you just say, "Hey guys, this is what I got," and then they jump on it.
No, the other way around.
Okay.
Yeah. We're all the deals we're getting in are from wholesalers.
Oh,
So,
okay. I'm thinking backward ass now. I'm thinking
yeah.
wholesale. I don't know why. It's too early in the morning. You got me.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah. I've already had my nice green tea and everything. I'm
All
pepped
right.
up. Yeah.
So yeah, you're on the East Coast. You're the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
Since South Carolina.
Yep. Yeah. So I have pivoted my focus to creating the equity partnerships and stuff. But when we first started, I was very focused on getting in contact with as many wholesalers as possible that are doing creative deals.
Okay.
And so that is now a Brittany and Joanna. I've since passed that off to them so I can focus on the capital raising, because in order to buy a property, an investment property, you need two things. You need a deal and you need capital to buy the deal. And so those are the two problems that we're always looking to solve in our business and looking to grow, right? We want to get more deals, and we want to get more people that want to lend or partner on said deals. And it's this like ebb and flow kind of thing where you have a lot of deals and then you don't have people that want to partner on the deals. And then you have all these partners, and now like I need deals to bring to the partners. And so we've kind of balanced that out a little bit at this point, and it's going to be kind of, it's kind of jumping back and forth. But that's where we're at. we're bringing wholesalers in. They send us the creative deals that they get that break even as long-term rentals, and then we go from there.
Okay, so most of them are creative finance, or how many sub-twos have you bought?
Yeah, correct. It's 50-50 at this point, sub-2 to seller finance. I think that it seems that the trend is leaning more going towards seller finance now. The market has shifted away from the, COVID 4 years ago when the interest rates were really low, and then the interest rates started to rise and people still needed to sell their homes, and so sub-2 is really, really prevalent. And because properties have appreciated now at this point, those people that have those 2, 3, 4% interest rates have now built in some equity, and the sub-2 isn't as desirable for those people, because I like to say that sub-2 is you're a need. Like when somebody needs to sell the property, subject to.
Right.
There's a need here. For whatever reason, they got to sell this house, and they don't have enough equity to be able to sell it without bringing money to the table. Now, seller finance is a want. I want a high price for this house. I want to still get some income from the property, but I don't want to have to be a landlord anymore, right? So it's this balancing act. Right now, the need for subject to just isn't as prevalent. And so a lot of the deals that we're seeing that are subject to is like 6.5% interest rates. And like when you're looking at those, from a cash flow standpoint, it just, a lot of the times they don't work.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. So,
yeah.
All right, you mentioned briefly some mentors. What were some of your first mentors before you joined Subto?
Oh man, I don't want to name too many names here.
Come on, drop
because
them.
I have already talked a little poorly about a couple of them. Yeah, there was a yellow letters or a yellow postcards. I forget the name of that person. That was a decent one. Just learning about marketing and a little bit of talking on the phone. I had an SEO one. It was a website credibility and SEO. Gerald Norden, who is amazing, is great, and I think he's pivoted a little bit away from that. I don't want to call it I guess it's a mentorship, but it was more of a coaching kind of
Marketing
thing.
coaching.
Yeah, and like, here's how you build a website that people will come to and find value and credibility from, and here's how you build a website that will rank high on Google and Bing or whatever. And so that was a really good one. And then, I mean, I've been in a couple other ones since joining Subto that are a lot more like focused. So if you're familiar with Creighton Bertrand, who I just had him on, he was on my podcast this week. That was, what was that? 28th of August. I had to look.
I saw your post about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was in his coaching program the middle of 2023, creating change, and his is like a high performance personal development coaching program. So it was all about mindset and taking value and stock in your days and your weeks and your months, and kind of, it's not, I don't want to say creating the perfect life, because there's not really such thing, right? But really valuing what you want your days to look like and creating your work and your schedule and all that around that. And then we just earlier this year were in Jesse Stanton's the Growth Co program, and that was designed around, I mean, it's a lot, but buying houses essentially is where that was kind of focused on. And since it's been, being an effective leader, being an effective CEO, how you market, how you're showing yourself out there, just a lot of different things. So shout out to those two people for sure. But yeah, again, I wouldn't have met them if I hadn't joined Subto.
Okay. So difficult times. We all go through difficult times in this. That. So how do you get through them? What have you been doing? I know you just mentioned Creighton. He is a good mindset one, and he's one I've listened to a lot too. And there's some others because we go through some crap here.
I think that since I've listened to The Gap and the Gain, it has been a lot easier to deal with difficult times.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to write that down. The Gap and
Yeah.
the Gain.
It is, there's a lot in the book, but to give a like 30-second summary or minute summary is we have these goals that we want to get to. And when times get tough, it's easy to look at our goals and go, man, how am I ever going to get there?
Mm-hmm.
And it's never going to happen. How the heck am I going to get to $50,000 a month revenue right now when this property just fell through? That's the gap from where I'm at to where I want to go. The gain is from where I'm at to where I was a month, 2, 5, a year ago, right? And so when times get tough and you're like, man, how am I ever going to get there? Instead of looking at the gap, turn around and look at the gain. Man, where was I at a month ago? Where was I at 3 months ago? Right? So when that property falls through, you go, okay, well, 3 weeks ago, I didn't have this property, right? I didn't have the knowledge that I just learned from going through this process, right? 3 months ago, I'm just going to make a number up. I didn't have the 3 properties that I bought. I bought 3 properties in a month. I don't have 50 yet, but I have 3,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so being able to shift your focus from where you're not to where you are and where you came from is incredibly powerful.
So were there any times that you ever thought about quitting this? I'm
Oh,
not
100%.
doing this.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not doing this. I'm sick
Yeah.
of this. No.
It was when I was wholesaling, we weren't doing, 5 deals a month. We were doing like 1.5 a month, something like that. It was just me and a VA at one point, right? So it was, we were doing well, right? Making our 10, 15 grand wholesale fees for those deals, but
Mm-hmm.
it was really transactional, right? You'd get a contract and be like really high, and then you'd sell the contract, right? And you wouldn't have anything in the pipeline or something like that, or like something would fall through, and it's like, man, it's the worst thing in the world. I had 5 properties on the board, and now I have 0 because 4 of them fell out or whatever, right? And it's just really easy to go, how the heck am I ever going to get to where I want to go? Yeah, there were many times sitting at the dinner table or whatever, talking to like, I don't
We
think
should
this is
stop.
it.
We
Yeah,
should
I don't
stop.
think this is it. Yeah. And
And
just
what would she
I've
say?
created posts. Yeah, sometimes not the right thing, probably. No.
Is that what y'all would fight about though?
No, I don't think that we've ever really had a like fight about the business stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I
You're
think
talking about that and communicating it.
yeah, I don't do the best job, or I haven't in the past, of like telling how I feel, like this is where I'm at. I'm freaking depressed right now because of X, Y, and Z. And so I am doing a better job of that now. But like I said, with the gap and the gain kind of mindset, those lows aren't there as much anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's been a number of times where it's just been like, man, I gotta quit. I can't do this anymore. It's taxing. It's wearing on me, right? Being on the phone trying to talk to sellers for 6 hours a day, and at the end of the day, you like did nothing. It feels like nothing came of it. What the heck am I gonna do? I don't know what the heck to do. Another day without a contract. Like, if you go a week of that, it gets tough. If you go 3 months of that, it gets tough.
I know that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So I'm in the, I had one, now it's been a few months. I had my first deal. It took about almost a year to get my first deal.
Okay.
So got the first one. Now I'm in maybe the second one. Hopefully the guy signs the contract this weekend. So
Okay.
and then, but this isn't my lead, so this is someone else's lead. I work on a team and do some calling. They send me some warmer leads, they say.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not cold calling, but it's not really, but I got one out of it so far now. So hopefully this one closes and that goes.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
what are some key strategies to help that you started implementing to start growing from and transitioning from wholesaling to really get to where you want to go? What did you start throwing in place?
Definitely hiring from the top down. So, you know, we have a tendency to hire out of kind of a scarcity mindset and hire the lowest hanging fruit. And especially when we're like, oh, I don't want to be a cold caller, so we just go hire a cold caller. But we're still wearing all the other hats. So instead of hiring from the bottom up and going, okay, I'm going to hire a cold caller, and then hopefully I'll end up getting another one, and then maybe I can promote one of them, and so we're slowly bringing the hiring up to us. Hire from the top down and go, okay, I'm going to hire the next person below me and let them figure all the stuff out.
That's a good, yeah, because I still feel it's like I got to figure it out and then I'll train somebody.
Right.
So, and that takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm running out of time. I don't know how old you are. I'm in my 50s.
Oh, are you? Okay, you look very good, Todd. Yeah.
I'm running out of time though, so
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I gotta get on the ball. I gotta quit messing around. So I like hearing that. Yeah, it's like I have a hang up though with hiring somebody.
Yeah.
I feel I got to be in a better position. I think
That's what I think. Maybe going back to the pace thing, he probably doesn't have that anymore at this point, but he did. He had
Right.
that. He had that at some point when he made his first hire, and I would probably guess that he has things about that first hire that he's like, oh man, that was maybe
Yeah.
not
Well,
the
he's
best.
probably fired a few too.
Yeah, and so like, just we want as entrepreneurs, we want to have control.
Okay. So you
We
with
want
your
somebody that's. Oh, sorry.
oh no, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was
Finish.
kidding. Yeah,
I didn't
we
want to
want
stop.
somebody that can do the job as well as we can, and we never feel like anybody is ever going to be able to do the job as well as we can. And maybe that's true, right? But bringing in people that have different skill sets and different, skill sets, I guess, different traits and characteristics, really is what is able to allow us to go do our highest and best task, our highest and best use. And mine is talking to people and creating opportunities and things like that. It's not underwriting deals. I can, right? I can plug numbers into our calculators and look at them, and the green light goes off. Okay, this is a deal. But it's much better off for me to bring somebody in to do that, and then that person's going to take that. Okay, now we're getting contractors. Now we're vetting property managers, right? All those things, so I can continue to do what my highest and best use is. Yeah, you say like, oh, I want to bring in a cold caller because I don't want to be talking on the phones. But then what?
Right.
So yeah, just that's maybe the biggest thing that has kind of shifted things for us is bringing in somebody that we know and trust is going to just run the show on the operations standpoint and allow us to just look at the higher level things and be able to pick out pieces, right? And put the bigger picture items in place. I still am working in the business instead of on the business completely, but I'm doing a lot more on the business stuff than I was 6-12 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you becoming a leader in. It says you're a leader Subto community. How did you get start becoming involved doing that?
That's going back maybe a year and a half now, and I'm still growing in that role for sure. But we have a group of Subto people here locally, and I just reached out to a couple of them and like, hey, do you want to go start having a lunch once a month and just chatting and get know each other better and having a little community. And over time it's kind of iterated, and I hold a meetup now every third Saturday. And because I'm the one doing the meetup, this is a little tip for anybody who wants to do meetups out there. I have little kids, and it's tough. It's tough for Brittany and I both to go be involved with something, and I want her to be involved because she's a part of the business and she should be, networking and learning and teaching as well. And so because we host the meetup, I do it at a park. And so we take our kids, they go play on the playground, and Brittany and I switch off who's kind of keeping an eye on them, and we get to network and have a little community. So I've been doing that, yeah, and then just as far as locally leader, and then I I give back as much as I can. I'm as open a book as I can be. I won't give out any proprietary information, but we don't have a lot of proprietary information. It's not like I'm reinventing
The wheel.
some new real estate thing, right? I'm not inventing some new thing out there. But so as far as like from a leadership standpoint, there is like I host a weekly Zoom to help people, get started, and I'm constantly just in the Facebook groups and the different communities, just trying to provide value and give value to people. I think that's where you probably see me posting a lot. Is like, okay,
See
what
what's
can I talk about today?
right. That's
Yeah.
where I'm struggling is content to put out there. I was doing more when I first started, then I kind of dropped off. I'm just doing the podcast, but I need to do more little things because I'm not getting many views. I'm not getting subscribers. So I need to
Yeah.
try to figure that out. But that's next step. So
Yeah. That's it. One thing at a time. Get good at one thing, and then move on to the next. Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
where do you see yourself in say 10 years or 5 years? What's the you got goals set, 5-year, 10-year goal?
We don't have a 5-year right now. We have the 1 year is to get to 50K. So by the end of June, quarter two of next year is our goal for that. My kind of 3-year goal is to start creating, and I still don't have really clarity on it, but around veterans,
Okay.
disabled veterans, veterans going through mental health crises, because as a veteran who's dealt with a lot of these things myself, like I want to be able to give back in that way as well. That's something that's kind of always, not always, but since I kind of got out of the Marine Corps and have been on this entrepreneurial path, is like, how do I give back to that community? There's a lot of homeless veterans, and they're homeless for many different reasons, but the PTSD is a real thing, and
Mhm.
when we don't know how to deal with it and don't have habits and things that we can do on a daily basis, it freaking sucks. Yeah, so
Yeah.
being able to give back somehow that way, that's kind of where once we hit that 50K revenue and like we're able to just be donating money, and now it's time too. I want to be able to donate my time to those kind of causes. Yeah.
All right. How do you balance your time now? How do you do your scheduling? Do you do the Calendly, or are you blocking your time during the day?
Yeah. Oh, I'm like, my calendar stresses people out because it is full typically from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And it's everything from meditation, reading, exercise, family time, to all the things work. Typically, I wake up. Uh, I'll wake up with a set schedule, but I mean, typically there's a portion of my day that's already been set by people booking calls with me booking calls or podcasts or things like that. And then the night before, I look at that day and I go, okay, like there's open slots, and Brittany and I will go, okay, what do you got? Like, what's your highest and most important task? Okay, what's your highest and most important task? And we fill those slots. And so everything's color coded, so you can see this is a Brittany thing, this is a Nathaniel thing, this is an everybody thing. And like Brittany has her own work color and personal color, and Nathaniel has his own work color and personal color, and then we have like a family.
All right. Do you I just lost. I keep getting brain farts this
Oh
morning.
no, and I remember that you mentioned that you gotta jump off here real soon, so I want to make sure that we're
Yeah, I
good
was
for your
gonna
time.
get a couple more questions,
Okay.
but then
Yeah.
I just forgot the one.
Oh shoot.
I had a good one too.
Yeah.
Uh, hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
So, people out there, what would you give advice to the newbie? The newbie advice would you give?
Yeah, I mean, if
Someone
you've been,
just starting out fresh, no experience.
yeah, if you've been listening so far, there's been a couple tips I would just like, let's reiterate them a little bit, is, going out and taking action and finding people who you know and trust to kind of take you under their wing. I can be one of those people for you. I have a very limited time though, so if we have a conversation and I don't think that I'm the right fit to kind of help you get to where you're going, I know a lot of other people. Um, so that's one thing. I would just take consistent action every single day, whether it be 30 minutes or 6 hours. Like, that time compounds as you do it day in, day out, week in, week out, right? You're gonna and then the gap in the gain thing. You're going to be able to look back 3 months from now if you've been taking consistent action, even if you don't have a deal. Todd mentioned like it took him a year to get a deal.
Yeah, it doesn't
But
happen.
over that time, he had learned a bunch of things. He had figured out some systems and some processes and some traits about himself that he didn't know a year prior. And so
There
just
you
like
go.
take consistent action. Like I think that's probably the biggest thing for a new person is like do your research, get some education, and now go apply it. Like
Well,
whenever
you
you
said
read something, yeah, put it into action. Yeah.
key thing too is you learn about yourself in this process.
Hmm.
A lot about yourself. So you got to learn the mindset things. You got to learn, I always thought this mindset stuff was and all
Yeah, it's
that.
all
This is
woo woo. Yeah.
all bullshit and all, these
Yeah.
guys, they're just wanting to get my money. You
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
So, and it's real. It's, man, I can't tell you so much. It's just like I've been slammed and what I've learned about what I thought was BS is not.
No, it's
It's
not.
plain and
Yeah.
simple. So tell me the thing I wanted to ask is about your podcast. Tell me about your podcast.
Yeah, it's called Networking with Nathaniel. Very similar to what we've done here. It's just like kind of a conversation. I started with, hey, what are you working on? What keeps you busy during the day? And we just pull at the strings. And an hour later, it's like, oh, hey, it's time to go. But yeah, I like to have people on that are out there doing deals and have done deals. That way they can provide some value. But everybody has experience and everybody has value to give. I'm starting to pivot a little bit away from real estate to try to bring real estate adjacent, I should say, like, um, people in the finance sector, property managers, rather than just people that are buying or wholesaling types of things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to do that too. I had a tax guy on, Charles
Yeah.
Reed. I had a tax guy on the other day, so I still got to
Okay.
post that one. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not doing lives yet. I just record them and post them. Yours is going to be about a week or week and a half off before it gets posted.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, mine are
So,
live Wednesdays at noon on my channel. We love having people, the chat kind of goes because I'll say something or the guest will say something and somebody will have a question that I don't think of. And so there's a fun element to the live where, okay, hey, look, check it out. Somebody just asked a question and I can pose it to the guest. Yeah.
so how was it when you first started though, and there was nobody in there? That's the only thing I'm wondering. Like when there's
Yeah.
nobody in the chat, and you're just going.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Just
the
keep-
same, like you're still just having the conversation anyway. Like typically there's
Right.
maybe 10 people in my chat and like, or in the live and like one or two of them are active in the chat, but it depends on the guest too. Yeah.
I worried about it's like that might scare off my guest if I don't have
Yeah.
anybody in the chat. And,
They
'cause
don't
I only had-
know.
right. They don't know. So, but like I had one guy too that when I first started, it's like, well, you don't even have enough followers. I'm not being on a podcast. And, okay, well, cool. That's understandable. I understand that.
Yeah, you
So,
gotta ask though.
all right. So this will all be in the description too. I want to tell you to tell how they can find you. Website.
Yeah, that's the best is if you go to my name here, nathanielhovsepian.com, you'll find everything you need. Yeah. Am I pointing to it? Yeah, I think I'm pointing to it on my screen. But
Right.
it's spelled correctly there on my name, nathanielhovsepian.com. If you have socials that you want to follow me on, it'll take you to those. If you want to check the podcast out, if you want to come to the Helping Hands Hour, which is the Zoom that I do on Thursdays at noon Eastern Time, it's there for helping you get unstuck, helping you get started. I'll role play with you, like just networking in general. There's people that are in there doing deals from coming in and taking what we've talked about, putting into action. So it's awesome.
Cool. Thank you very much. I thank you for your time.
Yeah, I appreciate
And
you.
I'm going to give you back the rest of your Saturday now to go do some deals.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see what the kids are doing out there.
Right, go grab them, go bring them back in the house real quick.
Yeah. Later, Todd. Appreciate
All
you.
right, man, you have a good one. I appreciate it. And here,